Okay, so for example 13 part 3. Now we want to make the ripples. So the ripples are going to look like this. And if you think of a ripple, it's kind of big in the beginning, like here. And then as it slowly grows outward, it shrinks in y amplitude. So we're gonna mimic that in a really simple and easy way. So first of all, we want to grab only the points that are in the hit group. So we're gonna delete everything that is not in the group. We then want to create a p-scale that kind of expands over time. So we have the age here, we pipe it to a fit. So we do destination min 0 and destination max 1. Okay. This means that as the time goes from the source min age to the source max age, the p-scale will grow from 0 up until 1. Okay. And also we have a multiplier, we have p-scale mult if we want to multiply it even more, but that depends. Then we're going to delete points after a certain age, because we don't want them to stick around for too long. So I found the sweet spot for this certain moment is to put if at age is greater than 2.6, then we remove them. And then we're going to copy on circles to that. And actually now we can actually see what the p-scale is doing. So as we can see, they're growing, and then gets deleted after 2.6 seconds, basically. Then we're gonna only keep the edges, and a good way to do that is just dropping down a carve. That will basically delete the polygons inside of it, and you only keep the primitive on the edge. Then we're gonna color them white. We're gonna resample them a little bit to make them smoother. And then we want to actually transfer the color of these onto the grid, that is the collision geometry. But for this to be smooth, we kind of need to actually grab the geometry here and subdivide it a couple of times. So I'm going to subdivide it 5 times to get a lot of polygons. I'm going to color it black. And then in attribute transfer, we can now see that I can transfer the colors of these rings onto this geometry. And we ultimately want to use this color to actually drive our ripples. So now we have that color, we transfer the color, we have kind of played a little bit with distance threshold. If you put it to 1, it's going to be completely white. If you put it to 0.5, they're going to be thicker. I found that the sweet spot here was 0.01, but yeah. Then we need to smooth out the color since it's not super smooth, it's still kind of rough. So if I smooth it out by color, by CD, and put 10 smoothing iterations, it's gonna look like this. Really smooth and really consistent. That's cool. Next up, we actually wanna do the actual deformation. And as I said, we're gonna use the color values to make that happen in a VOP. So as you can see now, we actually have some height information here. It's not totally smooth, but we're gonna fix that later. But we actually just want to modify the height. So we're gonna do this by using a couple of different things here. So ultimately, we only want to modify each point or these primitives in y direction. And therefore, we can kind of from the start figure out that we want to use the position. We want to use a vector to float. We want to keep the x and z values the same, but we want to modify the y value. Therefore, we can pipe the x and z value back to a float to vector and pipe that vector into position. Now we only need to define what our y value for this position is. Therefore, we're going to do it like this. We're going to use the color. We're going to use a ramp and a multiply. And the ramp is going to look like this. So it goes from 0 to 1 to 0. And if I increase the multiplier afterwards, it's going to look like this. And as you can see, this is not ideal, right? But it's kind of the shapes of the ripples that we want. Okay? So if I put that back to original value, we only have a little bit upwards, but it's fine. Now, I also want to define that as the age passes, I want the y value to diminish or go lower. So as you can do that, I can take the age, I can put it to a fit. I can put the desired fit values here. And then I can put the destination max min to 1, destination max to 0, which means that as the ripple is freshly made, like like just born basically, it has the destination min of 1, and as the age passes, it goes down to 0. And we're going to use these values to multiply this value. So this is the value we define with the ramp that goes from 0 to 1 to 0. And we're going to multiply that by the age that goes from 1 to 0 now. Which means that as the time passes, this value will get smaller. Okay? So we're going to pipe this multiply into the y value of the float vector and the float vector to position. Let's see what this looks like. So if we go to a start frame here, one of the very first frames, we can take a look at, okay, let's isolate on this one. As you can see, it's kind of upwards now. If we go a couple of frames forward, we can see that it shrinks down and then dies. So it's here, it's pretty much up. It goes down, 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 and dies. To make this look smooth, we need to actually smooth the position of these. So we're going to use a smooth node and put the smoothing iteration to 4. And now we also want to delete the color. And we want to put some additional color, just some blue, to visualize it. And now here we can actually see that our ripples are pretty much where we want them to be right now. We can see they are fading out, they're looking really natural, and they are quite cool. I like them. So that's pretty much how I made the ripples. Once again, this is how it's going to look at the end. Let's see if we can scrub through this with splashes, with the raindrops, and with the ripples. So that's pretty much it, how you can do something like this. I just wanted to take the time to like define kind of layers and like layering of effects and how important that is to make things look cool. Anyway, thanks you guys for watching. Thank you guys for watching the pop tutorials. The next chapter is gonna be, I think it's Pyro. We'll see, but I'll see you guys there. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next chapter. Bye.